Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is January the 24th, 2024. We are 24 days into the month, and I pray that it was a blessing for you all. Um, so I am not going to stand before you. So the title is Don't Go Back. So if you look at this picture that I have here, I have a lady who's sitting in a corner, and I have a golden shackle, and I have definitely a bowl that was able to, get some food in, and got a cup that gets some, drink in. So, if you could maybe get an idea of the picture, we're going to be talking about the children of Israel. Now, we all know the story. But when I read it again for myself, I was able to see a little bit more deeper. And I just feel like every time you go read the word, you see something that you've never seen before. You understood something that you've never seen before, and you gain more knowledge. And you're just like, okay, God, you're awesome. So let's get into it. There's three scriptures here. Exodus 15:22, verse 24, 16 through 1, verse 1 through 5, and 17, 1 through 3. Now, with these three different accounts, not different accounts, but similar, because these are the children of Israel, and they just got recently saved out of the hands of Pharaoh. And they just crossed over the Red Sea. Pharaoh and his peoples are under the Red Sea. They're done for. And now they crossed over. So now they're on their journey to go basically worship God in the wilderness, right? And you're in when the first time I read it, I didn't notice like, okay, they went in the wilderness. I'm always thinking like they went to like a mountain or they went somewhere special, which they did, but I didn't know it. Basically the word wilderness popped out. And I remember my friend taught me a revelation she got from wilderness, and I thought it was awesome. But to read it again and see it for what it is, I seen a little bit of me actually. So like I said, my title is Don't Go Back. Now the children of Israel complained three times, maybe more times, every time that they came across a wilderness or they came across a situation. They became thirsty, they became hungry. And every time they became thirsty or they became hungry or they came this to that, they forgot what God done for them. They forgot that God had saved them from their plagues, have saved their children, has got them out of oppression and slavery, and able them to cross over. But as soon as they got hungry and as soon as they got thirsty, they like, hold up, wait. For all of this, I could go back and be a slave and go eat meat and go get some water and have some bread. Forgetting that they was crying out to the Lord, talking about they're tired, how the Egyptians are whipping them, making them do double work with every time Moses went to go in front of Pharaoh to get them out. And it's like they forget every time they come across. And if I could admit, sometimes that is me. God has done so much for me for the last matter of fact, even when I didn't even know him or I even acknowledge him, God has been doing stuff for me. And sometimes when I come across that road, I forget that what God had done for me. And the fact that he could even do it again, even much better. And sometimes, and it sounds bad, I say to myself, man, back in the day, I used to do this and that. I used to get it this fast, da, 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 da. And only thing I was in bondage because that lifestyle that I lived would have only led me to hell, period. So sometimes we can't think back or want to go back to a certain way because we think something's going to get done quicker, faster, an appropriate time, and such and such. Even though when I was doing those things back then, I was depressed, I was upset, I was mad. Even when I got the items or the stuff like that, it came with so much trouble. But the things that's given to me by the Lord, I mean, it was with satisfied heart and gratefulness to the point that I able to even cherish it more better. But every time I came across another wilderness in my life, I'm not going to lie. I was like the children of Israel, asking God, well, why this gotta wait? This gotta happen. Why this gotta happen? Well, that's the point. If that's the point, I might as well do, sometimes we can't think that way. Even though he took them out of Egypt, Egypt did not leave their mindset. That's why God said daily we need to transform our mind. Daily we need to wash our garment. Daily we need to pick up our cross. Daily we need to say no to the flesh. Daily to get off that old man out of us, literally out of our spirit. Because God did say in 2 Corinthians 5:17, we are a new creature in him. So Paul goes to mention in Galatians 4:7, he goes to mention saying this. Excuse me, I should have had it open already. um, he goes to say this 4:7 through um through verse 9. He's talking to the church of Galatia. He's getting mad at them. He's sending them a letter like, listen, what are you doing? Why are you going back to these things? Why? He wished he even, and he even says at the end of a little bit of the verses, he said, I would like Christ, he said, I would like to be with you right now and change my tone of voice, but because I don't know what to do about you. And it's like, I could just only imagine what I when I put God through, Lord. And it's like we have to change our slavery mindset and don't go back. Even if you don't do it in action, don't go back in thought as well. In like I said, Galatians chapter 4, chapter 4, verse 7, it says, so you are no longer a slave, but a son. If a son, then God has made you an heir. But in the past, since you didn't know God, you were enslaved to things that nature that sorry you sorry that you by nature are not God's. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna read that again one more time. It says this. um I'm gonna read it again. So sorry because I lost my words. It says, so you are no longer a slave but a son, and if a son, then God has made you an heir. In the past, since you didn't know God, you were enslaved to the things that by nature are not God's. I mean, idols. By now, since you know God, or rather you became known by God, how can you turn back again to the weak and worthless elements? Do you want to be enslaved to them all over again? So he's asking you, do you want to be a slave all over again? Do you want to go through this all over again? Do you seriously want to do that? So we have to remember, like we just have to remember, just because the enemy gave you a bracelet back in the day, it doesn't mean he didn't get put on shackles around your wrist. Just because he put a certain person in your life and you thought this person was a person that was sent by God, but come to find out he was helping you or she was helping you to do sin, doesn't mean that person was destined for you to get closer to God. If that makes sense, if I'm saying that right. So I just want to bring to you one more verse, Romans chapter 6, verse 11 through 14, and it says this. So you too consider yourself dead to sin and alive to God by Jesus Christ. Therefore, don't let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its desires. Do not offer any parts of it to sin as a weapon for unrighteousness, but as those who are alive from the dead, offer yourself God and all the parts of yourself to God as weapons for righteousness. For sin will not rule over you because you are not under the law but under grace. So I want to end with that. I want to say this. Further and further along further along in the chapter of Exodus, there's a part we all know that the children of Israel made a golden calf because they was waiting for Moses to come down. They even told Aaron, like, hey, we need you to find something what's going on. Moses is missing. We don't see him. We gotta worship a God. They were so used to just worshiping, but they didn't understand they had to worship God. They just wanted to worship, and that's what we were made for. First of all, we are made to worship, but they were so desperate, and they needed to see, and they needed to just, in their own infinite mind, they needed to see something in front of them so they could worship. And they had the nerve to replace and say, this is the God that led you out of Israel. They couldn't do nothing. That golden calf was made by hands. They took all their jewelry and stuff, and they made a golden calf and worship and had a festival. Forgetting once again, they got water from a bitter river. They got water from a mountain. They got food that rained and came down, and they was able to eat and double on a Saturday and rested on that Sunday, or however the days went for them. But God provided in the wilderness. So my extra message to you is, when you're having a wilderness moment in your life, or a wilderness, I said wilderness season in your life, and it looks like the faucet is just dripping drops and it's not flowing. Sit still, be still, and know that He is God. Have patience and have faith. Your wilderness moment, God still provides in that. Just because it's not shiny and beautiful the way you would like it to be, doesn't mean it's attached to shackles, but it's attached to everlasting. So I pray this bless you. I love you. And I pray that you end this month with God and you're beginning a new month with God. And if you're having a wilderness moment, understand God still provides. Don't look for things that are temporarily, that will think will be satisfied and that will be good. Because you know what? It all comes to a certain end as a consequence. Whatever is good is from above, and that from above is God. So trust, build this relationship while you're in the wilderness, because God is still speaking as well. So I love you once again, but God loves you more. God bless, and have a wonderful evening. Bye.